don't be afraid to take vacation in July, okay? I mean, you may be considered like I'm fresh and I'm ready to work, but don't be afraid to take that vacation, maybe that last week of July before you switch to a new rotation. Do not be afraid to do that, okay? Because you're still gonna need a break. You still deserve a break, even if you've been on break all summer. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ijama. I'm a third-year family medicine resident, almost done. Countdown to graduation is on, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back for many of you. Thank you for hanging out with me again. There's been a lot. I never feel like every video is like there's always so much going on, and my life is very busy these days. And it's still true. Like, I'm having my American wedding in less than 3 weeks. I'm working on selling my home. So I'm already on the market, like, kind of like as a coming soon. And then this coming weekend is the first weekend where people are gonna come start doing showings. Actually, today I had the professional photographer come to take pictures. So I've been doing that. I'm working on job stuff. So I got my Texas medical license. Whoop, whoop. So that got approved this week. I still have some credentialing stuff that I need to do. And on top of that, it's just finishing up my graduation requirements and just trying to get ready to get on out of here. And I'm excited to get into this video where we are going to be talking about getting ready for residency. So I'm probably going to do a two-part because, well, I'm going to do a part one of getting into residency, and then I'm going to do a second part about getting ready to get out of residency, because it's just like all this other stuff about when you start looking for a job and like getting offers and timelines and getting all this stuff that I kind of had to learn along the way. So I will just share my experience. But this video, we're going to be talking to all of you fourth year medical students or people who've been out of medicine for a little while and maybe took gap years by choice or by force, for medical graduates, those sorts of things, who are now getting ready to start residency, and you're thinking to yourself, well, how do I prepare? What do I need to do? How do I succeed? So that's what this video is all about. And if you're interested in that, then get out something to take some notes on and get something to drink and maybe get some dinner. And I hope that you enjoy this video. Also, before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I make a lot of videos of just like vlogs, life in residency and soon to be attending and wife and whatnot stuff. So if you are interested in following along with me and being part of the family, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up if you like this video, and click the notification bell so that you can get notified when I drop new videos. All right, so first things first, for my fourth year medical students who just are finishing up their curriculum, especially here in the US, you are not going to have to do as much in terms of catching up with your brain. You already have a lot of information in your brain in terms of getting ready for residency. What you're gonna want to be doing right now is working on your transition, right? So knowing what rotation you're gonna be starting on, learning the top diagnoses and things related to that. So if you're starting on peds inpatient like I did, I studied what are the like top 10 pediatric hospitalists chief complaints, admitting diagnoses, I should say, that there are. And I studied those, the general presentation and the workup, just so I felt like I had something underneath my belt, because I mean, for me, I hadn't done pediatric inpatient since it was my first rotation of, it was my first rotation of my third year of medical school. So full circle, I just realized that. But yeah, so you want to give yourself any sort of advantage that you can. So I would recommend that for sure. I would also recommend that if you're able to get your full like year schedule in like blocks, even if you don't know the specifics, you know what blocks you're on, talk to residents that have gone before you and go ahead and make a plan for when you're going to take step 3. Figure out what rotations make sense. Maybe if you have something chill, something you can take vacation on, figure that out. And then also go ahead, at least what I did, this may be overkill, but I would recommend going ahead and planning out your vacation days in advance. All of this stuff before you even start. Like, more than likely you'll have your program, you'll have your schedules maybe 2 weeks in advance. So schedule out your vacation just for yourself to know when you're going to use your days, because you're usually going to have 21 days of vacation time to utilize, and you don't want to miss any of that, right? I've seen interns time and time again, towards the end of intern year, they realized they didn't use all their vacation days. At least in my program, we have vacation eligible and ineligible months, and so you may end up with a lot of vacation ineligible months at the end, and now you don't have the opportunity to use your vacation days, versus being strategic about it. And don't be afraid to take vacation in July, okay? I mean, you may be considered like, I'm fresh and I'm ready to work, but don't be afraid to take that vacation, maybe that last week of July before you switch to a new rotation. Do not be afraid to do that, okay? Because you're still gonna need a break, and you still deserve a break, even if you've been on break all summer. I know some people feel like that. Okay, I would also recommend for you to develop or foster some sort of hobby that's going to be good for your well-being. If you already have something, then foster it, you know, go hard with it or whatever over the summertime. If you don't have anything, or your hobby is watching Netflix, or what's what you do with your free time, I would develop something, whether it's running or yoga or meditation practice, journaling, some sort of stretching or group class, something. I would develop something like that, or foster something, so that you have built up a habit before you start residency, right? Because once you start residency and your hours turn from 0-hour work weeks to 70 to 80, you are going to forget how to incorporate those things into your day, unless it's habitual and it's something very important to you. So I would recommend that you take some time while you have free time to develop something, so that when you start residency, you have that thing that you can fall back on. Like, every Wednesday I do this, or 3 times a week I do this. I paint, or I play music, or I go to the gym. It needs to be something that's not just TV, because you will find yourself gaining weight and feeling more fatigued and those sorts of things. And so I would recommend finding something active with your body or your mind that you can incorporate now, and so you have it as a tool for you as a resident, because you will need some sort of outlet, if you will. You could also consider outdoor stuff too. I didn't mention that, but like hiking. I only just thought about hiking, honestly, but that's just because I'm in North Carolina, people hike, but that's just another idea. The other thing about looking for a place to live is deciding whether you want to rent or buy, right? Now, buying is a little, because the economy and the interest rates and things are in the seller's favor and not in the buyer's favor, honestly, but it's something to think about. Do you want to buy, or do you want to rent? And that's important. If you want to buy, then you need to start thinking about pre-approval. You need to start thinking about, I don't know if you're doing this with a partner, you may need to go to the bank. You need to think about a physician's loan or something like that, especially if you're, well, I'm mostly talking to people interested in primary care, but especially if you're doing like ortho, you know, something that's like a 5 to 7 year residency. So that's another important conversation and things you have to do in advance, of course, if you want to buy. I got lucky and bought during my intern year. And so I've built a lot of equity in my place, and now that I'm selling, it's just the timing just worked out perfectly. And I only have God to thank for that, because Lord knows I don't know anything about real estate. I just knew I wanted to buy. I knew that this area was going to be, I knew I would at least break even, if anything. Like I knew that it wouldn't depreciate. So I'm happy that it appreciated as much as it did. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna switch gears from my 4th year med students, and I'm gonna talk to my folks that have been out of medicine for a little while, maybe a year out of school, 2 years out of school, 8 years out of school, just depending. Because I know, at least for my husband, he is a foreign medical graduate, and he took 5 cycles, I think, before he matched. And it was tough, and that transition from being out of school to starting residency, in a U.S. residency program is not easy. There's a big learning curve there. And so if you're someone who's been out, I'm getting ready to talk to you. So important things are that, yes, you are going to need to put a little bit more work in versus a 4th year medical student who just got out of med school. If you're going into family medicine, we rotate around all different specialties, and so your knowledge base is going to need to be way more broad. So there's no way that you're going to be able to relearn everything quickly, and you don't want to do that, because part of residency is to learn as you go. Again, take the advice from previous. Depending on what your first rotation is, definitely put more emphasis into that. But as a general, in terms of general learning and general baseline knowledge, one of the recommendations that he shared with me was doing some practice ITE questions, that's in training exam. You can find that for free on the AAFP website. And that is, you can find like a PDFs versions of ITEs, old questions where you can go through multiple choice questions, do it like a test, review the answers with explanations, and it can help you, because as you read through the explanations, just try to get an idea of what's like the baseline knowledge that I kind of need to know. It can just kind of help you take a little bit of inventory, if you will. So consider that, and consider starting earlier with your prep for step 3. Although most of the time, in this case, people have already taken step 3, so you may not need to still take step 3. But if not, consider starting like a question bank for step 3 earlier on, just to get the wheels, like to knock the rust off of those wheels in your brain. So those are important things to keep in mind, especially for those who've been out. I would also, alongside the ITE, remember that the bulk of what we do in family medicine, or if you're doing internal medicine, is clinic. So we do a lot of clinic, and clinic is going to be a backbone. No matter what rotation you're on, you're always going to be in the ambulatory setting at least 1/2 day a week. And my camera's about to die. Great. So probably going to have to continue this video another time. But I just want to finish this thought, and hopefully it catches it before it cuts off, is at least get your baseline clinic stuff. Hypertension, diabetes, chronic pain, MSK exam, basic things that you're going to see in the office, anxiety, depression, read up on that, read up-to-date articles, the basic stuff that you can get covered in terms of the ambulatory setting, because no matter what you're on, you're always going to need that. So I would read up on standard outpatient stuff, great AAFP articles that you may find on the website, review AAFP magazines, reflux disease, heart disease, stroke prevention, those sorts of things that you're always going to see. Those would be great things to read up on. So check some articles out on that. So my camera is going to die, and I actually have an appointment. So by the time this thing charges up and is ready to record again, we're going to have to do this another time. So I'm going to finish up the video, but when I come... All right, guys, so I am back from my appointment, and I just had to go from there to here so that I could keep the sunshine on me. In the time that I was gone, which was maybe a little over an hour, I found out that the person or one of the people who's going to be doing my bridesmaid's hair for the wedding is not able to make it. So she has reached out to some other people, has sent me some other contacts and people that she trusts for me to reach out to. And then my wedding planner is also helping reach out to people too. So now I have to deal with that on top of other things. I have a very long to-do list, and I'm not gonna lie, like this process has been very stressful for me, and it has consumed a lot of my energy and emotions, and I cannot wait for it to be over. I really just can't wait for that day after the wedding where I can just like soak it up and be done. Not have any more meetings, nobody's asking me for money, not have to follow up with about anything. But anyway, this is not about me. So where did we leave off? Okay, so next let's talk about resources. Let's talk about books or apps that at least I felt like were helpful, especially in the intern year, that you may want to go ahead and acquire now and familiarize yourself with. Okay, the first one is Pocket Medicine. Pocket Medicine is a very popular series of books. There's Pocket Medicine for inpatient, there's one for primary care outpatient, there's one for emergency, OBGYN, and blah, blah, blah. I only have the orange one, which is the Pocket Medicine for internal medicine, like inpatient medicine. And I've found it very helpful, especially intern year. We do a lot of inpatient, whether it's with the family medicine service or the inpatient internal medicine service. I don't have time to go find my glasses cleaner, but the Pocket Medicine book was very helpful for that, and it was a great quick reference. I really liked it. It was easy to carry around in my work bag. The other thing besides Pocket Medicine, I would say the 5-minute clinical consult was also really good. That book I had as a PDF, so it was searchable, very helpful to when you're on inpatient, especially when you're on nights and you're doing admissions, you can type in the diagnosis and it gives you like a good differential. It gives you orders, labs to order, meds to order, things to consider. Very helpful for you in formulating your assessment and plan quickly, because as an intern, the information sometimes it may be in your brain, but because of the pressure of the situation or the time crunch, multiple things going on at one time, it's hard to get the information from back here to here. And you're like, I know, and you just can't think about it. And so you want to look so many things up. And that's a great resource to look things up specifically on the inpatient side when you're admitting patients. Intern year in general is very inpatient heavy. And so a lot of those things will help. For the outpatient setting, I use a lot of UpToDate, which your program will hopefully have a subscription. Hopefully they'll have a subscription to UpToDate, so you can use that. Essential Evidence Plus is another great option if your program has a subscription to that for bullet points of information on certain topics. Very helpful to look things up quickly in the outpatient setting. And those are the main ones. Especially pre-residency, you will develop other things. You'll download more apps. You'll maybe get more books along the way, depending on what other residents are doing or what your program favors. But I think those are great places to start, and you don't want to overwhelm yourself. I have a lot of apps here. Let me see. Some of the apps that I have on my phone that I use frequently: the CDC STD Treatment Guide app, the ASCCP app for pap smears, the ACOG app I use it for dating and establishing due dates. I have all my meditation and wellness type apps, but that's a topic for another day. The AAFP app, and then they have a separate app for immunizations that I use for vaccines. The aspirin app, which I use, it's helpful if you have sometimes you just have these random patients they're on aspirin, they never had a stroke, or, you know, you're like, why are you on aspirin? And they're like, I just take it every day. And they're, you know, 50 or, you know, certain age, and you're like, or they're like 80 or something, and you're like, do you need that? I don't know. That I use the aspirin app to go through, put patient information in it, and it tells you whether or not you should recommend that they start aspirin or keep their aspirin. It's helpful. The ADA app, I don't use it as often now because I've gotten good at diabetes management, but the American Diabetes Association, it's a great app to help with diabetes management, medications, helpful tips for patients. Just great app all around. I like it. MD Calc, of course, all your calculators, free water deficit, maintenance fluids, MELD score, whatever, MD Calc. I have the UpToDate app. I have the USPSTF app, which I use a lot in clinic, because if it's like a new patient establishing care or whatever, hasn't been seen a doctor in a while, or I just want to see what the recommendations will be for this or that, I check that often. I have GoodRx app, which is helpful for my patient population if I just need to look up something real quick to see where they can get it for cheap. And the Sanford guide for antibiotics. Yeah, so I have a lot of apps, but these are things that I've developed over time, and I don't think that you need to go running and downloading all these apps right off the bat. But those are some of the apps that I have on my phone. I'm running out of tips, so let's start wrapping things up. The main things I would say is, more than likely by now, if you've matched, you've heard from residents in your future program. They probably reached out to say congratulations and let me know if you need anything. Okay, so this is the time to actually let them know when you need things. So, hey, I'm starting on this rotation, what do you recommend? Or, hey, I've been out of medicine for a little while now and I want to get started on a good footing. Where do you recommend starting? So those are some things that you should consider now. All in all, congratulations. Welcome to this time of your life that you've been praying so hard about and dreaming so hard about. It is ups and downs, it ebbs and flows, but all in all, it's a beautiful journey that chisels you into the wonderful physician that you are meant to be. And if you need anything or any advice outside of what I provided in this video in terms of getting prepared for residency, please put it in the comments, because if you have a question, most likely someone else has it too. And when I answer it, it's there and available for everyone to benefit from. So please do that. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something and took something away from this video. All in all, you are going to do great. No one is expecting you to be perfect on July 1st. Literally, you just need to show up and have good energy, and the universe will take it from there. You are going to do amazing. I have nothing but confidence in you, and I'm wishing you all the best. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, again, like I said, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and you will catch me in my next video, or you can catch me in one of my previous videos, which should be showing up here anytime now. So take care, enjoy the rest of your day, your night, your week, your month, and I will catch you guys later. Woo, less than 3 weeks to the wedding. Oh, so excited. Ooh. Lord, take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel.